Hello again, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing the first in a series of videos that I'm going to be calling Perfect Pairings for fountain pens. And the reason why I say pairings, plural, is because it is not just about the ink and the pen, it is about the ink, the pen, and the particular nib. So you can have thousands of different combinations on any particular pen given different inks, different nibs, but the combination that I found for each of the pens that I'm going to be profiling in this series, I feel like that I have reached the point where I am never going to change the combination of things. Or if I do, I'll only change it slightly and I'll try to change it into something similar because it basically writes exactly the way I want it to, and writes in a really enjoyable way. So I want to be a little bit relaxed about this perfect concept because it's not necessarily everyone's definition of perfect. This is my definition of perfect for these pens. And this was a series that was suggested by a viewer, and I thought it was a great idea, so I'm stealing that idea. Thank you very much for suggesting that. But basically, I will put the parameters around what I think is perfect about this particular combination at the beginning of each video. So today I have chosen a TWSBI Mini, the Humble TWSBI Mini, as my first video in this series because this ink that is in here is a little bit of a problematic ink, but it works great in this pen. And the nib that is in here is not the original nib. It is a replacement nib. After I found out that size 5 nibs tend to fit on a lot of these smaller TWSBIs, I tried a bunch of different combinations, and this particular combination for this pen is fantastic. Now, TWSBI nibs are generally pretty good. They're made by Bock, I believe, and they're pretty good generally, but sometimes there'll be a nib that just doesn't quite write correctly. I found sometimes the slit in the nib is a little bit off center. That seems to be a particular problem with Bock nibs, at least from what I've seen. And so this was one of those nibs that just didn't ever really write exactly the way I wanted it to. So this originally had a TWSBI medium nib. And oh, I should start by saying that this is the TWSBI Mini in mint green. And TWSBI is a great brand. I love TWSBIs. They're inexpensive generally, and they have a really nice design. I love the piston fill models because they hold a lot of ink and the pens never seem to dry out. I have never had a TWSBI dry out on me, which is really nice because I tend to put ink in my pens and store them for quite a long time before writing with them again. I can pull this out 6 months later and it'll still write the way it writes today. So that's an amazing quality, I think, of TWSBIs. And I think they have great customer service. I have not really had any trouble. Oh, and with the nib thing, I never really asked for replacements because I know I can swap things out. But you could do that if there's a faulty nib that you got. But they have great customer service. I had a cracked body on a TWSBI Vac Mini, which I guess was kind of plaguing some of the Vac models. And I contacted TWSBI about it, and they immediately wrote back, like instantly, and said, no problem, we'll replace the body of the pen for a nominal shipping fee. I think it was like $4 to have it shipped. So I thought that was very, very reasonable and very, very nice. And that's the one and only experience I've had with their customer service because all of my other pens have been fine, like I said, other than some nib variations, which I feel like I can either smooth and fix or swap it out like I did with this. So that's about the pen itself. I'm actually going to get some paper out here so that we can test this combination once I've shown it to you. So the nib that I replaced the original nib with is this Franklin Christoph 1.1 stub in a size 5. And this fit really, really well. This stub I actually had it on a Jinhao pen, and I thought, what a waste, because this is really, really a beautiful nib. Most Franklin Christoph nibs that I get are really well tuned, and tend to be really smooth. So what I consider to be a really great nib, it generally, I mean, there are some exceptions for certain brands like Sailor, which has a particular feel, etc. But generally, what I think is a really great nib is a nib that is super smooth. I can't feel any feedback coming back. Well, again, I don't feel a lot of feedback. And again, this could depend on how you write and how much pressure you put, all that stuff. But I like a good smooth nib. This particular nib, like I said, I felt like it was kind of wasted on the Jinhao it was on because it was so smooth and lovely. So I put it on here, and it's a great combo. And the ink that I have in here is J. Herbin Emerald of Chicken, as people lovingly call it. It's also Emerald de Chevaux is what its true name is. But it is a sparkle ink, and it also has sheen in it. And it tends to show up differently depending on the paper you're using, and it tends to gunk up pens very easily, mostly because of the combination, I think, of the sheen and the shimmer. But this particular one, although and this is also true for the rest of the, or for the future combinations that I'm going to be showing, it's not an exact match for the color of the pen. But I do think that this mint color has a little bit of what I feel like sparkle to it, even though it's not a sparkle pen. And I feel like the sparkle in the Emerald of Chicken goes very nicely with this mint. So it doesn't necessarily have to be super matchy-matchy, although sometimes they will be. But I feel like as long as it is a good pairing, let's say, for the pen, then that is what I call a perfect combination. So let's go ahead and quit the yakking and get in here with some writing. So this pen is really, really nice because it is pocket-sized normally, and it's pretty good. You can fit this in a passport size traveler's notebook, and it fits pretty well in the pen loop for that and all of that. But when you open it, you post it by twisting the cap onto the back, and then it becomes a perfectly good full-size pen. And it's very comfortable, I find. All right, so let's get in here. So what do we have here? This is a TWSBI Mini in mint, and I've still seen these available at the very least on TWSBI's website, but other retailers may also still have them. So this is a little wide of a nib line, but I actually quite like, well, I like all sizes of nibs, but broad nibs are kind of my thing of the moment, so I really, really like them. And this particular one, I normally hold stub nibs. So 1.1 stub, I think I said that. I normally hold stub nibs at a 45-degree angle so that I can get some line variation when I'm writing. But this combination is so smooth and lovely, and it never gunks up, it never clogs up, which I've been very happy about. Okay, so this nib is Franklin Christoph 1.1 stub in a number 5 nib. This is actually one of the kinds of nibs that you can buy just as it is on Franklin Christoph's website. The custom ground ones that are not the in-house custom ground nibs, you have to buy them with a pen, but you can get their stub nibs, their regular nibs, just as one-offs without a pen. So that's kind of nice, and I think that's how I bought this one. And then the ink, actually I should put here, yeah, this pen or this paper tore a little bit when I was taking it out, but I figured, whatever. So this ink is J. Herbin. I'm just gonna use the colloquial name, Emerald of Chicken. Now, if you want to find out the origination of that name, I'll give you the short version, but you can also look it up. This originates from Goulet pens. Somebody was trying to type the name of this ink, and their computer spell checked it to Emerald of Chicken, and there it is. That's how the name was born, And they actually carry stickers that have they're a chicken with the little logo for this ink on it. It's all very cute. It's kind of an inside joke. But anyway, let me go ahead and write the Quick Brown Fox in cursive. And then I'm also going to write it in block lettering. And this combination, I don't know if I spun this around enough, because generally when you have shimmer ink, you should roll it around a little bit before you write with it so that the shimmer gets distributed in there, so you'll actually get some on your paper. But I think I got a little bit, and you can certainly see the sheen. Yeah, the shimmer may be difficult for you to see, but I can see it here. Let me see if I can get it even closer. It's hard for me to tell on the monitor that I'm using here. But you can definitely see the sheen. And again, the amount of shimmer and sheen that you see is also not just going to depend on how much is dumped onto the page, but also what kind of paper you're using. I'm using Tomoe River paper, which is pretty good for showing shimmer and sheen, but there are actually some papers that I think are a little bit better than Tomoe River. Like, for example, the new paper that everybody's crazy about, including me, I like it a lot, is the Cosmo Air light paper. And I think that that shows off sheen, at the very least, really, really well. Shimmer too, I think, but I don't have as many shimmer inks, so I don't have as much experience with that one. But this is my first perfect pairing. Perfect pairings? I don't know. Because pair generally implies two, right? So you're talking pen, ink. Anyway, it's still going to be called perfect pairings for now. I may end up changing it, but we'll see. But anyway, I hope this was enjoyable to you. If you like this video, give it a like. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. And I hope to see you next time. But in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.